This is John Cameron Swayze. We all like to contribute toward making this world of ours a better world. A world in which all people will have equal opportunity to live in peace and work for a secure, productive life. Most Americans further this hope of a better world by supporting worthy charities. Charities that help people who need help. People who want and are willing, with our help, to work for a new, better way of life. Each year, for the past 8 years, you, as federal employees of the most democratic and prosperous nation in the world, have given your generous support to the agencies within the Federal Service Joint Crusade. For the next few minutes, you will see a report on how your dollars contributed to the FSJC agencies are being used to make this a better world for all of us. Your dollars contributed to AKF, the American Korean Foundation, have helped give a breath of life to an old land. A land on which South Koreans fought long and hard to keep free from communist oppression. The price of freedom came high: war. 4 million homeless refugees fleeing communist North Korea. 2 million casualties. And the children, 100,000 of them without parents. Food, homes, training, and without love. Money can't buy love, but your dollars contributed to the American Korean Foundation can build orphanages to shelter, rehabilitation clinics to train, hospitals to treat and heal, mobile medical clinics to bring health aid to rural areas. Your dollars also help Koreans to help themselves get back on their feet and work to become equal, self-supporting partners in a better world. AKF has initiated vocational training for Korean youth. Workshops throughout South Korea teach wood and metal trades, building construction, electronic training, earth block making to build a home for only $100. The block making machine can be passed on to build again. Projects like these can help millions of Koreans to help themselves. Food plays a key role. That's why AKF provides 4-H club training for thousands of young Koreans, training that will one day help feed a growing, industrious nation. A nation now plagued with sickness, hunger, disease, poverty. These people need your help. Without your help, AKF would be powerless to help Korea's estimated 100,000 lepers. Without your help, AKF would not be able to offer training to Korea's 80,000 disabled children. Here's what your dollar contributed to the American Korean Foundation can buy. $1 feeds and shelters an orphan for a day. $5 provides a month of vocational training. Give generously to the American Korean Foundation. It needs your help to help needy Koreans. There are other people who need help, help that only your support of RFE, Radio Free Europe, can provide. 80 million enslaved people live behind the Iron Curtain in the Soviet satellite states of Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Romania, Bulgaria. It's not very hard for us to imagine what it's like to be hungry, sick, desperately poor. But try to imagine what it's like to be imprisoned, cut off from the outside world. Could you take it for a year, 2 years, 10, all your life? The freedom-loving people of East Europe have been held captive by the communists since World War II. For the past 14 years, their strongest link with the truth and the free world has been Radio Free Europe. A link you keep strong with your contributions, contributions that enable Radio Free Europe to break through the communist lies and distortions. Through Radio Free Europe, you give them the accurate news reporting and analysis they need to peacefully but firmly put pressure on their communist rulers to gain greater personal freedoms. Radio Free Europe is a private, non-profit, non-government radio network for the people of East Europe, RFE is a window to freedom. RFE's audience behind the Iron Curtain writes,
"It was thanks to Radio Free Europe broadcast that some laws and ordinances were softened by the regime.
RFE is definitely an influence on the regime. Thanks to RFE, conditions back home have eased.
For young and for old, for factory, farm, or professional worker, Radio Free Europe's programs have a special appeal, the appeal of a free press in a controlled state. Supervised by Americans, all Radio Free Europe programs are written and broadcast by dedicated exiles from East Europe who are working to help their countrymen, working so that communism will not spread. Support Radio Free Europe in its vital work. Remember, the Iron Curtain isn't soundproof. Radio Free Europe gets the truth through. Truth that helps 80 million captive people continue to hope for freedom and thus strengthens their will to resist communism. As long as there are enslaved people anywhere in this world, our freedom is in jeopardy. Your support of Radio Free Europe helps make this a freer, safer, better world. There are different kinds of enslavement. The enslavement of sickness, of disease, of suffering. These can strike anyone, anywhere, but they will only flourish where there are not enough trained doctors and nurses and modern medicines. For the peoples of Indonesia, Vietnam, Peru, Ecuador, and Guinea, where hope has paid a visit, thousands of local medical personnel have been trained. The sick have been healed. The threat of epidemics has been eased, and the needless suffering of thousands has ended. Since its official dedication in 1960, the SS Hope has logged an enviable record. In Indonesia, 700 major operations, 18,000 patients treated, 8,000 receiving special treatment to cure and alleviate suffering, a mass X-ray screening program to detect and combat tuberculosis. In South Vietnam, Hope's crew of personnel initiated the first mass immunization program for children, administering 250,000 vaccine injections, setting up orthopedic and dental training programs. In Peru, the SS Hope maintained a modern 230-bed university teaching hospital aboard ship and a clinical program for a 500-bed clinic on shore. Hope personnel treated 100 patients a day aboard ship, performing an average of 250 major surgical operations per month, in addition to daily minor surgery. On board, Hope's dedicated volunteer nurses and doctors gave lectures, seminars, and classes to local personnel. They trained local personnel to man health clinics. But this is only part of Hope's story. The logbook is by no means closed. Right now, the SS Hope is making a new entry in Africa, teaching, training, and treating. How far the SS Hope can sail on its voyage of mercy is to a large extent dependent on you. Your support is needed to aid Project Hope's mission of making your world a better world through medical care and training. The foundation of good health depends on a good diet. Without proper foods, man falls prey to a multitude of diseases. Lack of food saps strength, deforms young bodies, undermines the will and abilities of peoples and nations. Today, over half the world's population is undernourished. The pain of hunger is an everyday fact of life, a fact that CARE, with your support, is helping to eliminate. For 18 years, CARE has delivered food packages to every corner of the globe. A $1 contribution to CARE will buy a minimum of 27 pounds of strength-giving food for a needy family, or a school kit to help a child in Hong Kong get the training he needs to build a better life for himself and his family. $2 through CARE's new Friendship Garden program will buy enough seed for a family to grow 1,000 pounds of beets, carrots, lettuce, cabbage, and other vital foods for a balanced diet. $11 contributed to CARE will equip a school or community garden project with the tools needed to produce a bumper crop. CARE also uses food as a tool to shape the future. Food to advance the health and education of undernourished children. Food as wages to workers building irrigation systems, fishing boats, and similar facilities to increase production and earning power. CARE also heals the sick through its Medico program. Medico brings modern medicines and techniques to backward lands. CARE gives total worldwide aid to mankind. Aid you make possible with your support of CARE's programs that have supplied 419,000 farm implement packages, 136,000 woodworking toolkits, school supplies to help educate 2 million children a year, mobile health units to examine and treat almost 2 million people a year, and to educate annually another 7.5 million in public health and hygiene. And food to fight disease, help young people grow, to give the will and courage to help people build for a better world. Your contribution to CARE makes a better world possible. And now, the chairman of the Federal Service Joint Crusade, the Honorable Orville Freeman, Secretary of Agriculture.
The President of the United States has asked me to bring you the following message. Throughout much of the world today, daily existence for millions of human beings is a ceaseless struggle against hunger, sickness, tyranny, and ignorance. A battle which constantly requires renewed hope, faith, and courage. Your personal support of CARE, Radio Free Europe, Project Hope, and the American Korean Foundation, the 4 private international service agencies of the Federal Service Joint Crusade, will do much to help these agencies combat the poverty, hopelessness, and fear which haunt so many of our fellow men. To further the cause of human dignity and freedom, I urge all civilian personnel and members of the armed forces to contribute generously to the 1965 Federal Service Joint Crusade. As chairman of this Joint Crusade, I would like to appeal to all of you to respond to this eloquent plea by the President. Contribute generously to this important cause.
Hunger, disease, slavery, poverty. Ancient ailments plaguing man throughout history. Your support of the American Korean Foundation, Radio Free Europe, Project Hope, CARE. Dollars. Your dollars contributed today to one or all of these agencies within the Federal Service Joint Crusade is an investment that pays the greatest dividend of all, a better world tomorrow, for your neighbors and for you. Support your Federal Service Joint Crusade.